ahead. Did a pretty good job last week. Let's see what we could do, and that was in front of Draghi. In front of Draghi on Wednesday, I said there could be one more surge in the dollar. I pointed out that there was no divergence in the euro. There now is. On shorter term time frames, we're getting a mini reversal here. It is late to be long the dollar. Can we shoot up one more time? I'll show you a potential 3-drive pattern that could be evolving in the euro. Aussie Kiwi looks good, put in higher lows despite the weakness. I talked about the euro pound could break towards the 75 level, actually overshot it by 80 pips. So if you're a short euro pound, you participated in that, and I said that we should start looking for bottoms there. I'm seeing the beginning of a developing stage for at least a rebound in both the euro and euro GBP. US dollar yen is still in that triangle. Moment of truth is going to be closing back over 120 or so. I think that we are going to attempt that level here in the next couple days. We break out over 120, 125 yen is possible. We break down under 116, 111 yen is possible. So it's an indecision pattern. We'll go over that triangle in a little bit. But starting off with the dollar, I believe this was a confirmed high, pretty high reading of 82. But I think there's a possibility with this top developing that at first we could see 93 and then maybe even back to 90 in the weeks ahead. So again, monitoring this, and now we're starting to get some short-term evidence of non-confirmations in the euro. Already have that in the pound. The pound's been acting better. Perhaps it does for a bit longer while we have the third drive in euro pound. Give me a Y if you're with me. I talked about that I thought there could be a pullback in the gold. That's what's happening. Although a lot of people are saying that this is a pullback to buy. We've come off about $30 so far. Again, the line in the sand is going to be about this 1240 to 1260 area right here. But this is when I gave the warning last week. So Aussie made new lows. Perhaps we're just going to have some type of pullback before we get another run. 1260 to 1240 support zone in the gold. Oil on the verge of making new lows. But Canada in a rising wedge. Finally, I think there could be a correction due coming in Canada as well. Here's a look at the crude oil market. Actually making new lows, but you can see that for the first time in a while, even on the daily, we're not making new lows on the RSI. So this could be drive 2 here, 1, 2, similar to what we're having in euro. And then maybe we finish it off with a wave 3. S&Ps have to clear this 2060 level. I talked about the pattern looking incomplete. In S&Ps, we've had 2 drives so far. Waiting for this to respond. There we go. Here's drive 1, here's drive 2. Talked about this last week, that we could still be heading up to 21, maybe blow off to 2200. Held the 200-day down here. Back under 1960, there's problems. To me, it looks like there's potential for us to rally, which tells me it's going to be very important to see the yen try and break out. The last time the S&Ps made new highs, we put in a lower high in the yen. So it's going to be interesting to see if the S&Ps make new highs and the yen does not. So we'll be monitoring that in the days and weeks ahead. Give me a Y if you're with me. Talking about the outside markets and their correlations to different currency pairs. Crude oil comparing the correlation to Canada, although it broke down on that interest rate cut by Canada. Talking about gold and Aussie, and talking about the yen and the S&Ps for risk on, risk off. If you have an understanding of what I'm covering, please give me a Y. I'm happy to repeat it so that you begin to learn and follow these types of market relationships. You with me? Okay. So as usual, we'll go to our pairs and start off with the Euro USD. You can see there's nothing here on the 4-hour. We're basically diverging off here, but still very low readings. But the 1-hour is starting to paint a little different picture. And you guys know one of my favorite formations is a 3 drive to a bottom formation. Here's drive 1. That was a confirmed low, which meant after a bounce that the probability of another low would occur, which is something that I pointed out before the Fed, was that on the 1-hour, we had a confirmed low here. So this was a confirmed low that we hit on the euro. We moved sideways, which told me that there was a probability of another new low. Okay, and we did make another new low here and did confirm it. But now we're beginning to see divergence developing. Perhaps we get either a pullback for a higher low or a 3 drive formation that could manifest itself off these 2 lows. Although the pound is still acting better. But anyone who listened to me Wednesday before the ECB did not get caught being short the dollar, because the euro told me it wasn't time to try and bottom pick the dollar because we had confirmed lows here. Give me a why if you recall it, and you understand why now. So off this little 3 drive, all we got was sideways to work off the overbought, and here was Draghi. So now I'm saying with this low here, I'm not sure I want to be short the euro for one more shot down, but I do know if we got one more shot down that I'd be paying very close attention to the RSI to see if it stays above 30 at new lows. The 3 drive line would come in approximately a 110.60, so still a couple hundred pips from here. But you know, sometimes markets only drives. In fact, here's a good history lesson. Back in the Swiss, it only had 2 drives. It was 1, 2, and then broke. So the 3rd drive pattern doesn't always happen. And that's why I'm saying, and I warned people about the Swiss up here, that we were making new highs, but the Swiss had glaring divergence. Of course, I didn't expect this type of collapse to happen on the non-peg, but the RSI was a great tool. Because at the minimum, it said don't be long anymore, because highs had not been confirming since back here on the 4-hour, the beginning of January. So you had time from the beginning of January to pair your longs if you were bullish this pair and see glaring divergences under 70 before the collapse. So sometimes it's only 2 drives. This was 1, this was 2. We didn't quite have a 3 because this did not make a new high. So that's a history lesson, which tells me, so, you know, maybe it is possible that the euro has put in a bottom. But I'm going to wait and see what the next reaction looks like here. I see a couple of points that could be valid, maybe around 111.40, and then possibly one more low for a 3rd drive to a bottom that could set up some divergence. Maybe it happens into the Fed. Last week we had the ECB. This week we have the Fed. I believe we have GDP as well on Friday here in the States. Welcome to our webinar, Omer. So give me a why if you're with me on an understanding of my analysis of euro dollar. For the first last week, it told me new lows were possible because we had confirmed lows. We got the new lows, we confirmed it again, and then had that bounce on Friday. Then the Greek election took the euro back down to new lows, this time diverging, not the strongest reading, but if we should get one more break back down into the level, there could be a spec short for a correction down around 110.60. Give me a why if you're with me on my analysis of Euro USD. That's my look. So as you can see, confirmed highs and divergent highs, they give you messages, if not to manifest the moves immediately, they give you warnings of whether or not you should still be long or short the market based on these divergences. They also give you actionable ideas if we're confirming lows and confirming highs, that you could buy the break for another new high or sell the rally for another new low that may or may not confirm. Give me why if this RSI work is working for you and you're beginning to utilize it, implement it in your trading plan. Okay, great. So Swiss, you know, it's a broken market. We have a huge gap. Maybe it's going to try and work its way into the gap, but all kinds of confirmed lows. This is a non-trade for me now. I'm just going to leave it alone. Maybe we try and fill part of the gap, and I don't think we're going to fill all the gap. So not sure I want to step into that trade. There's still a lot of dead bodies lurking around in the Swiss, and I think I'll stay away from it. You know, it's okay to not know what to do, because it does tell you what to do. Nothing. If you don't know what to do, it's telling you what to do. Sometimes the right trade is no trade. That's where I'm at on the Swiss. Give me a Y if you're with me. Moving over to cable. Cable diverged pretty nicely last week. Talked about the new low coming into the ECB. The pound did make new lows. Even on the 1 hour, we had some divergence. I'm still not convinced. It was a nice scalp. I'm not going to reach for it. As you can see, we've rallied back to old support becomes new resistance right here. Not willing to short it either. Although I think that for the next few days it's possible that the pound shows more resiliency than the euro, based upon the fact that even though we have a divergence in EG, it's still the first one. And again, just like the euro, we could have a 3 drive to a bottom formation. We have a very similar pattern setting up in euro pound. Here was your confirmed low. We bounced. Here was a low last night. We diverged, but still under 30. A little weaker RSI pattern in euro pound than in euro itself. So the euro, just an edge, but not much. But similar patterns. Here's drive 1, here's drive 2, perhaps drive 3, or a higher low sets up. To me, it looks like the euro pound has a chance to do the same thing. We either put in a higher low around 74.35, and it actually was before the Fed, before the ECB last week, that I was talking about a move towards a 75 level. And, you know, we overshot it, but that was last Wednesday. If you took the trade, you did well. This is telling you, at the minimum, not to be pressing the short side of euro pound too much longer. Maybe there's one more drop left, but again, 3 drive patterns are beginning to pop up on my radar screen. Everyone have the understanding of 1, 2, 3. So should we be able to garner enough downside momentum to make a new low, I'd be paying very close attention to the RSI on the 1 hour pattern staying above 30 for something counter trend, and who knows what it could turn into. So the pound had a little different pattern, stronger pattern than euro. On the 4 hour, we diverged. 1 hour wasn't great divergence, but it was. But right back at new resistance, yeah, there was a nice scalp from here. I talked about the divergences last week, not to be short the pound after we made new lows under this level. I talked about that we probably would make new lows because the RSI was under 30. We did make new lows, but on the 4 hour, that's pretty glaring divergence. So I'm going to stand aside. I'd be interested at taking a look at the pound at new lows for this dollar correction that I think is at hand in fairly short order. It doesn't mean the death of the dollar. It means that we've had a move in the Dixie from 85 to 96, 1,100 point move. Why can't we come halfway back now that the whole world loves the dollar? So that's the way I'm leaning. Give me a Y if you're with me. So here's the yen, here's the daily, in a descending triangle, and like I said, when the S&Ps made new highs last January, right here, the yen made a lower high. So it looks like the S&Ps are gunning for third drives up here, 2100. I've seen Elliott targets as high as 2250. So I think the moment of truth for the yen's going to be having to stay under 120. Of course, this is still a neutral position, but if the S&Ps make a new high and we can't take these highs out and we get our second lower high in the yen, there might be a good trade protecting yourself with stops above a breakout line, say 121. So I'm going to be watching the yen for a potential short, maybe up around the 119 level or so in the next couple days. Right around here would be about 61.8 and would be the second successive high. So I'm going to be very interested in the action around 119 to 119.40 in US dollar yen, and you have to risk a breakout, and it would even be a reverse out. You start breaking out above this triangle line, it measures 125. Next time through this level, 116-ish, it measures 111. Back down into this range, 110, 111. So big move coming in US dollar yen in the coming days. This triangle is going to be tested if the S&Ps make new highs and the yen fails to even take out its failing rally here. There could be a nice short in the yen, and that might spell the beginning of a corrective period in the S&Ps as well. Give me a Y if you're with me on my analysis of US dollar yen. May take a shot at the short side with S&Ps at new highs and the yen beneath this high here and risking 121. And even considering reversing over 121, looking for 125. And the inverse of that, it's going to rise to 130. Okay, well then we're just going to break out over 120, and that very well could be the case. So I'm just prepared for anything that could happen to me. You know, I saw a buying opportunity down here while it was diverging, but I want to see if we can take out the high of the move, even these highs, before I commit to the long side. I'd rather be late and right. Okay? Actually, my measured move target's about 125, this triangle. It's a 550-point triangle. So that would take it to 25.26, and a breakdown under this little support line could take it down to 111. So, you know, nothing's for sure, Omer. I'm always open to all possibilities, and I'm flexible. One of my favorite lines is by W.D. Gann: if you don't learn how to change your mind, you won't have any change left. Ever hear that? I used to be more stubborn in my trading when my ego was attached to the outcome. Now I don't care where anything goes. I'm just going with it. Took years of being hit in the head with a ball-peen hammer to learn that lesson. So we'll see. It could be interesting. So the yen crosses, they're starting to look decent. We put in some nice reversal days. Euro yen doesn't look as good as the guppy. The guppy has a much better RSI setup here on the daily, where the euro yen took out all kinds of support. The guppy did not. So if you're right about that, if you're right about 130 yen, we should have a nice rally in the guppy. I would not be short here, a little double bottom. I think at the minimum, the guppy could rally back to this previous support level of 81.58. You have to risk the lows of the move. It's a pretty big risk on a daily basis. But we have pretty clean divergence down here. I don't know if we're going to make a new low, so here we go. This is a potential target up towards 183. So the end crosses actually look okay to me for recoveries, but right now the relative strength of the crosses to me is a guppy over the Euro Yen and over the Aussie Yen. Give me a Y if you're with me on the crosses. Okay, great. So taking a look at the commodity currencies, we've been diverging in the Kiwi 1 hour since all the way back here, since before the breakdown at 76. Made new lows again last night. Look at this RSI. It keeps building and building. Even the 4 hour now at this last poke at new low is over 30. The daily's ugly, but still holding 30. Even on the daily, we're diverging from all the way back here. This was late September. So last week I talked about that they probably want the stops under 76. We got a big follow through of 200 pips on the breakdown. And I wouldn't be short Aussie anymore. I'm not saying you can't get another push to new lows, but it's my belief that eventually we have a chance to retest old support, new resistance at the 76 handle or higher. So favoring the commodity currencies, including the Aussie. Aussie actually demonstrating more relative strength. We have another 2 drive pattern here in Aussie. I'd still like to see one more. But again, 2 drive in Aussie, 2 drive in Euro, 2 drive in Euro Pound. So the question is, we have a lot of similar setups here with 2 drives. Has the bottom happened, or is there one more shot down to give me the harmonic pattern of 3 drives? I believe in 3 drives. 3 is a number of completion. In hockey, you play 3 periods. Everyone wants a hat trick. In baseball, 3 strikes, you're out. In just this expression, the 3rd time's a charm. We're the 3rd planet from the sun. So that's why I look for 3s, because it tells me it's a completion number. Have you ever heard that before? That's a rationale for it. Learn this. Yeah, 3s. 3 is a number of completion. Spiritually, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is the Trinity. So I look for 3 drive formations in the markets on all time frames. It's one of the formations I teach and specialize in, along with my RSI work. So Canada, I admitted on Wednesday when they cut the rates that I was dead wrong. I didn't expect this much strength in Canada. But if you notice now, we're starting to get a little heavy. We're diverging on the 1 hour time frame, starting to look like a rising wedge. This is kind of the pattern here. Eroding underneath it. So maybe we could retrace in Canada, even if there's a little bit more strength. The whole interest rate cut move, if the dollar corrects and we finally get a turn in the crude oil market, pull back to 124 does not seem unreasonable. 121.40, a 300 pip decline. Kind of ties in with potential bottoms in Kiwi and Aussie too. So the commodity currencies recover. Give me a Y if you're with me on the commodity currency and my takes on them. So Euro Pound, nice little daily reversal here. I'm not sure that we're complete. 4 hour confirmed the low, so I wouldn't mind seeing one more low. In the 4 hour, the daily is still kind of ugly. It confirmed the lows. So I think there's one more drive left. It actually has a little weaker pattern than the Euro. Euro has a little stronger pattern. So I'm looking for another shot down in euro pound. And if we get new lows off this area here, it's going to tell you to favor the euro on weakness and sell the pound on strength. And just a return line, it's much deeper than what I have on the euro. Could come in around 73.60, so that's 120 pips from here. I want to see what the setup is. If we start clearing this level, 75, then we have room to rally back to old support, new resistance above 76. Give me a Y if you're with me on euro pound. Euro Swiss, I told people to avoid it before the collapse. I don't know what to do with it. It reminds me of the Swiss. It's been in an auto accident. It's in shock. It's trying to work off the shock of this move, marking time. Most likely is going to set up some type of sell pattern. I don't know if we'll ever fill the gap. Filling the gap would say this whole move was a phony. Okay, I think that the euro could possibly have one more low. Here's drive 1. Last week I said it would make a new low because we had a confirmed low, which is what happened. We had another confirmed low here. Last night's low was not confirmed. I'd like to see it down here one more time and the RSI stay above 30 on the 1 hour, and that comes in around 110.60. Does that help you? Does that help? Okay. So let's get to a couple of some of the more exotic pairs I cover. Euro Aussie. You know, you have 1, 2. To me, it looks like it could be vulnerable for one more low in Euro Aussie. This may still be corrective. So right back here, potential short here. Euro CAD, kind of the same situation, only a little weaker. See, here was a 2 driver that worked when I was looking for a 3. Looks like there's new lows coming here too. It might be the last one. So 135.80, I'm going to be interested in taking a look at Euro CAD. I'm not going to do anything with it here. So here's the line. Maybe we finally get, I would really consider shorting this up around 140.5 or so, looking for one more low. That's the way that looks to me. Any questions on anything I've covered? Or questions on anything I haven't covered? A pair you'd like me to look at? This is your time. So basically, in review, I think we're very close to the beginning of a pullback phase in the dollar. It may have started from today, or there could be one more hiccup, one more shot down there. Possibly one more shot down in Aussie and Kiwi, but feel it's very late in the game. Time. Maybe into April. Possibly April. Okay. All right, well, I'd like to thank everyone for their attention. Any other questions before I say goodbye? I'll be back with you on Wednesday. Look at those 3 drive patterns setting up in Euro, Euro GBP, and Aussie, etc. Pay attention to the yen and its potential when the S&Ps, should they make new highs. Okay, good. Mission accomplished. Nice to meet you. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. I'll be back with you on Wednesday. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And money comes and goes. Time is gone forever. Make it count. I'll see you on Wednesday. Nostrovia.